Hey, what's up, Chemical Guys family, and welcome to a brand new video. So on next week's weather forecast, we see that there's going to be a heavy downpour here in SoCal, so we thought we'd take this opportunity to show you guys how to properly prep your car for the rain. I know it sounds kind of, how would you prep your car for the rain? Wouldn't you just let the rain happen and then clean your car afterwards? But the reality is, whenever it comes to the rain, you're going to be driving in inclement weather conditions, and the last thing that you want to do, especially on your windshield, is to have an obstructed view. So today we're going to show you guys how to protect your glass, your paint, and every other part of your vehicle from the rain. That way you have the best clarity and safety possible. All right, guys, so to begin this process, to state this process, what we're actually going to do first is we're actually going to do a 50-50 on the windshield and on the hood of this car, because I want to demonstrate to you guys what a treated surface looks like versus an untreated surface looks like, and what the difference is, and really why you would want to treat your vehicle with protection and what happens when you don't. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some masking tape. I'm going to mask the windshield and the hood right down the middle, and then we're going to be working on the driver's side, which will be the right side. Just kind of keep it consistent, untreated, treated. So let me go ahead and grab that tape and let me knock that out real quick. All right, guys, so now that we have the hood and the windshield masked off, the next thing that we have to do is prepare the surface. Now, we've already washed the truck, which is great. However, there's still some other things that we have to do before we apply protectant. The next thing that we're gonna actually do is clay bar the surface, because if you guys actually, well, you guys can't feel it, but if you guys will hear me just kind of rubbing my hand over it, you'll hear that it's very contaminated. It sounds very rough. And all that roughness is embedded contamination that's sitting in the pores of the paintwork, and it's also gonna basically not allow your coating to bond properly. So if you apply a ceramic, a wax, a sealant, basically any kind of protectant, you wanna make sure that you clay bar, because if you just go and apply it, trust me, it's gonna make your life more difficult when it comes to applying it, removing it, and it's not gonna shine its best, and it's not gonna last very long. So in order to properly prepare the surface, we're gonna go ahead and clay it with our clay luber, which is a synthetic lubricant. And I also have a chunk of our OG clay bar. And we're gonna start off this process by simply spraying the area. And clay bars are great because you can use them on paint, glass, chrome, wheels, and so much more. And they're designed to pull off contaminants that are sitting in the pores of your vehicle's paintwork, your glass, your headlights, your wheels, whatever it may be. If it has a rough feel and it's smooth and glossy, you can clay it. So right now what we're doing is we're simply gliding the clay bar left and right. And if you've never done this on your vehicle, it may sound like you're scratching the paint. Don't worry about it, you're not, because what you're doing right now is you're actually removing the embedded contaminants. Now, for those of you guys out there who have a light colored vehicle like this one, you'll actually see sometimes that if you have enough buildup of contaminants on your paintwork, you'll actually see like little specks of like yellow, brown, black, really depending on the color. Most of the times on darker colors, you don't really see it because it's just too dark. But I know for a lot of you guys out there who have white cars, if you guys ever wondered what those little yellow brown specks are, that's actually embedded contaminants that you actually have to clay off. So this is something that you can't really get away with in the wash process. This actually involves a manual decontamination with the clay bar and some synthetic clay lubricant. So right now what I'm gonna do is I'm simply going to clay bar the rest of the paint. As you guys can see, I am taking my time just because this hood is actually very contaminated. I can actually show you guys if you guys come up close. So just check this out. This is the clay bar. That's the color that it should be. And I'm gonna go ahead and flip it, and as you guys can see, it's brown. That's all the contaminants that we're picking up with our clay bar. So you can actually see a little pocket right here that is not yet exposed yet, just because it seems like there's a little dent right here in the clay bar, which is fine. That just means that we have to reknead it, but that's just a demonstration of showing you guys the embedded contaminants that's sitting on your paint. So even though you washed your paint and you think it's clean, it's really not. So right now what we're gonna do is we're gonna continue claying the rest of the hood as well as the windshield, and then we'll be right back with you guys for the next step. All right, guys, so now that we're done cleaning it, you can also just kind of go back, feel the paint, make sure that there's no like patches that you missed that are still kind of rough. Once you're done cleaning it, when it comes to your paint work, at this point you can actually decide if you want to polish with a machine polisher or do it by hand. In this case, we're just going to keep I guess this kind of test just kind of raw. We're not going to do nothing special besides just prep the surface properly and apply a ceramic coating. We'll get to that in a bit. So we already clayed it. But when it comes to claying, I was wearing gloves, but you never know if there's anything still sitting on the surface in terms of oils or anything like that, or any kind of residue from the clay lubricant. So it's always a great thing to go over it with a IPA wipe like our Wipeout surface cleanser. Now this right here is basically an IPA wipe. All you have to do is simply spray directly onto the surface and wipe it down. And what this is basically is it's going to remove any kind of embedded oils, any kind of residue from compounds or polishes. So let's just say, in this case, if you did use like a machine polisher, maybe use the C4P4 or the V-line, and you want to make sure that before you apply the ceramic coating that there's absolutely nothing sitting on the surface, you would ideally wipe it down with this. And you apply it just the same way as a quick detail spray, simply spray directly onto the surface. Grab your microfiber towel and simply buff it off. Now the great thing about this product is that it doesn't have any wax, it doesn't have any oils. It's literally just for the purpose of cleaning. So it doesn't really leave any kind of residue behind, even if you're doing it like on a hot surface or on direct sunlight. So don't have to worry about much there. You just want to make sure that you get the product wiped through the surface very thoroughly to ensure that you wipe away any kind of residual oils from whether it be the compounds or polishes or anything else from any kind of previous protectants. So let me just go ahead and do this real quick. I'll do it on the windshield as well, and then we'll move on to the next step, which is ceramic coating. All right, guys, so now that the surface is decontaminated and prepped, you can actually hear it's actually very squeaky clean. And that's actually what we're looking for, because when it comes to cars, I know there's a phrase saying, oh, it's like squeaky clean. Now, that's a great thing if you're washing dishes, but if your paint is squeaky clean, that's not a good thing, because that means it's not slick, which means there's no protection, which means your paint is out of luck when it comes to the harsh UV rays. The harsh UV rays are going to penetrate your paintwork and it's going to damage it very easily. Anything that lands on it, whether it be like water from sprinklers, water spots are going to etch very easily. Bird poop droppings, if bird poop lands on your car and you have no protection, it's just going to start eating away at your clear coat very quickly. So squeaky clean when it comes to your paint, not so much a great thing, but today we're going to show you guys how to fix that with something like our Hydroslick ceramic coating hyper wax. Now, you guys may have seen this product on this channel before. This is actually one of my personal favorite products because it is basically a ceramic coating in the form of a wax. So I know a lot of you guys have had experience with carnauba waxes and cream waxes. So this basically, it utilizes the same kind of formula in the sense of application, but it performs, it shines, and it protects like a ceramic. And I'll show you guys how to apply it. So basically what you want to do first is you want to grab yourself a microfiber applicator, and then you want to grab the bottle, and you're going to put a couple drops onto the applicator. Don't go crazy trying to saturate your applicator so much, because when it comes to Hydroslick, you want to work in small areas at a time. So for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to do it on, actually I'll do it a little bit closer over here so you guys can see a little bit better. But I'll go ahead and just kind of blot this down, just kind of like a wax. But when I apply it, I'm going to go in a cross-hatch motion. And I'm only going to stick into this little section right here, because you want to make sure that when you apply this product, you apply it evenly. Now, what ends up happening is if you try to do a large area at once, what ends up happening is if you apply it, let's just say to this entire area of the hood, sorry, I'll just keep applying it as I talk, but If you try to apply it onto the entire hood, what ends up happening is you may have a little patch where you don't coat it evenly, and then you're gonna have a little patch in where there's not gonna be protection. And when it comes to washing your car, you're gonna realize those incredible hydrophobic properties that you know and expect from a ceramic coating. And in those patches where you didn't coat it properly, you're gonna have patches where the water sticks to your paintwork, and it's not gonna look good because the rest of your paint's gonna be all nice and beady and that just sheets water and it doesn't look good. So for the sake of applying a nice even layer and ensuring that we coat this entire hood properly, we're gonna work in small sections at a time in a crosshatch motion. That means up, down, left, and right. And then after about 30 seconds, depending on the climate, if it's on a warmer day, 30 seconds, go ahead and wipe it off. If it's a colder day, maybe you're on the East Coast or somewhere where it's very cold right now, if it's cold, you want to let that sit for anywhere up to 2 minutes, just because when it comes to ceramics, you want to let them sit on the surface enough for them to bond to the surface, but you don't want to let them sit long enough for them to start hardening, because when it comes to ceramics, ceramics are intended to harden. Speaking of harden, let me go ahead and grab myself a microfiber towel and wipe this off before it hardens on myself. So I've got myself a microfiber towel, and now I'm just gonna go ahead and buff off the residue of the Hydroslick. And then just because it's a lighter color, it may be a little bit difficult to kind of see if there's any residue left behind. But since we're indoors and we have this state-of-the-art lighting, we can kind of see where we have residue or not, and it looks pretty good to me. Now, one thing I did want to point out is if you do apply a product like a ceramic and you have residue, do not use this product. Do not use this product because this is going to strip it away. What you want to use instead, if it becomes hard for you to wipe it off, is use a quick detailer that is wax or sealant free, or nothing that has ceramic in it. So don't use a product like Hydrospeed or Instawax or Blaze of Banana or anything like that. Instead, use a product like Speed Wipe, Synthetic Quick Detailer. Those are both great options to help you just kind of remove any kind of residue. That way you don't have any kind of residue of the Hydroslick still sitting on the surface. So I showed you guys how easy it is to apply a coat of Hydroslick onto your vehicle and ceramic coat it. So now all that there's left to do is to coat the rest of it and do nothing to the other side. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna coat the rest of the hood and the windshield with Hydroslick, and then we'll be right back with you guys for the final results. And just like that, you've successfully ceramic coated your car with Hydroslick Ceramic Coating Hyper Wax. So now that this test is basically all ready, now all that there's left to do is to wait. So we're gonna wait. Next week, we're gonna go ahead and record the results. We'll do a voiceover as well, kind of explaining what the difference is and what you're gonna see is, because I know a lot of you guys are gonna see the water on this side and the water's gonna sheet and you're gonna be like, oh, it looks better on that side versus this side where it's all beating. But don't worry, guys, I'm gonna show you exactly why sheeting on your windshield is not a good thing. So make sure to stay tuned to see those results. All right, guys, so right off the bat, you'll see that the left and right side don't look very much different at all, but when you take a look up close, you'll see that the treated side, which we're showing now, the water beads up like crazy and the water flies off, versus the right side, the water drags on the surface. Now that drag basically means that the water wants to stick to your glass, so whenever you're driving in inclement weather at high speeds, the water's just gonna drag throughout your glass and it's gonna make it hard for you to see, versus the side that we did coat, the water beads up means it's repelling the water, and whenever you drive at high speed, the water just flies right off and you have better clarity while driving in those inclement weather conditions. All right, guys, and that's gonna go ahead and wrap it up for this episode. If you guys enjoyed and learned something new on today's episode, please go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. That way you are informed of all of our latest videos. And as always, if you guys want to pick up any of the products shown on today's video, they're going to be linked in the description and in the pinned comment down below. And if you prefer to pick it up in person, make sure to check out your local detail garage. As always, my name is Joey. This is Chemical Guys. We'll see you next time.